I wanted to welcome you, but I think maybe you should give your own introduction. That might help. So I'm going to even come here as well.
Oh, sure. Okay, I'll start. I'm David Gray. I work at the World Bank in Washington. I'm in charge of knowledge management and learning for the water global practice. So I just handle water, all things to do with water. It's a big business and it's doubling every year. You can imagine why water is now the topic of our lives. It's how climate change is showing itself up. So our business is booming for good and bad reasons. But that's the piece I'm in charge of and where Open Social is making a difference.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Airah Cadiogan from the International Seed Federation. So I'm the communications manager of the association, which is a 100-years-old association with about 7,000 members, representing 97% of the international seed trade. So this is agricultural seed trade in flowers, vegetables, fruits, turf grasses, and cover crops, field crops.
And I'm Frederic Williquet, so I'm a freelancer working for the DG JRC, European Commission. And these days, for the last 3 years, basically, I'm mostly busy with engaging with members in the Education for Climate community in Open Social, and indeed, as Jamila was said, I was one of the co-authors of the Community of Practice playbook that we developed, like it's more than 4 years ago, something like this. But we are still building on it.
Thank you so much. I'm very happy to have you here with us today. Our topic is community management. I already hear you guys all have different titles. But what are your responsibilities? Because they might align, but it gives different titles, right? I think this is something we realized today. Everyone works on the platform to an extent, but I think you guys all use it differently and you're all to an extent managing parts of it. So what would you describe kind of are the core responsibilities in building such a community or managing it?
We're 1 year in, and what's been really gratifying for me actually is seeing the trajectory people are going through, and I feel kind of good about where we are, because I think we're 1 year in when benchmarked against others here. It's been a really interesting journey, and it continues to be an interesting journey. So basically, I manage the overall platform. We have probably 12 communities of practice within our platform on different aspects of water, from digital water, from new water desalination, through to rural supply, water supply and sanitation, through to urban water supply and sanitation. And the clients there are all the water utilities of the world, of which there are over 10,000. So my job is trying to make this community overall, we think of it like a shopping mall. It's of the 12 that are in there, getting the whole platform to actually function. And there's been some really interesting takeaways, which we can come back to later. But I would say, we certainly can't declare victory at this point, but we're exactly where we should be, I think, 1 year in. So, and most of the challenges, which we can come back to, are not our clients, it's our own staff. And that's, I had an oh no moment when I realized that.
So for us, how we use Open Social is it really is our membership platform. So we, as I mentioned, we have over 7,000 members, although at the moment we're using it to engage with the members who are actively participating in our working groups. So the International Seed Federation has around 20 working groups on different topics, and each member then can gain access to this working group through Open Social, through our platform, which we call the members area. Very exciting. And the idea is that, you know, that's their place where they can share their documents, have their online meetings, have conversations outside of email, because I feel strongly against email, and it also hurts us when our staff leave. So we don't have a high turnover. We're a very small team, and there's 2 of us managing the platform. So I manage it with an associate, but the point is that when people leave, like the technical teams leave or the group leaders leave, we have all the data stored in that group within the platform. And so we have big plans to really change it. So we want to open it up to all our members, because we see Open Social or our platform as really providing value in the membership of ISF. So as an association, people pay fees to be part of our association, and they get access to our events, access to, you know, all the other physical on-site and face-to-face meetings that we do, but also to this virtual community, which we want to really showcase, to show that, you know, even if you don't get to travel to our events, there is a value in your membership.
And we organize a lot of different stuff, basically, and it's still quite complex. So we organize 2 main events a year to make sure that it's something concrete for people. Like last year, the big event, the yearly big event, it was 800 people joining, only online. It's always, everything is online. But every week there is an opportunity for people to join in a WebEx meeting. It can be from a cafe, a lecture, it can be a workshop, it can be a lot of different stuff. Even sometimes we are just testing that. Every month we open a WebEx session that is available for all country coordinators, but we don't attend. Because people, they are fed up to see our faces for years. No, that's not the reason. It's just for them to have a space to discuss and to connect. So we try to make it more personal, and we try also to build or to help people to build relationship with others, because we believe that it might have a very good and important impact on the sustainability of the platform, right? So the importance of community management appears to us to be even bigger than expected. We really need to drive, but also to find ways to organize stuff where people can connect without our little face all over the place and without our structure and the like. So that's it. And that's the reason why, and I finish with that, that's the reason why it's really what we do as a team. When we are a team, let's say 4 people, it changes because sometimes we have support from 2 others, but okay, more or less 4 people. But with these 4 people, we do everything. Alles. We do everything because we need that flexibility to be fast, to organize with Tina, who is in the room, by the way. For example, country group coordinators, we need a visual, we need a copywriting, we need a topic, we need a speaker. We can't relay to 5 or 10 or 15 other colleagues to help us to promote it and to put it online. It needs to be fast. And so we do everything with a multidisciplinary team. And for me, that's really a very key element of the community management, indeed.
Thank you. You already touched upon it, right? Like the struggle is maybe not the people, but the internal team, like getting that support maybe from stakeholders or others to actually support you. Like what was your experience and how do you get them involved to maybe change that?
Well, interesting, some of the revelations I got over the year were that the World Bank hasn't really operated communities of practice. They call them communities of practice, but what they really are people who will watch our PowerPoint and then nod a lot, go for lunch and then go away for 6 months. That's being a bit harsh, but it's not far away. We don't really co-create, certainly not in my group, as much as we should. And so the challenge and the revelation for me was, oh my God, I'm starting from scratch here with a group of people who haven't co-created, who don't do collective intelligence. And so that's a big challenge. Where on the other side of the coin, the clients, and I include here all the people from water utilities from around the world, Afghanistan, Zambia, Iraq, Myanmar, you name any country, they immediately jumped on Open Social because they're so thirsty to work together and to work with us and others. And I'm going, oh my goodness, we're the weakest link now. So the challenge for me is to get people to actually operate communities of practice in the World Bank Group, which is, you know, that's not the challenge I thought I would have. It's the opposite challenge I thought I would have. But again, we actually, if you don't mind, a couple of things we've learned in terms of trying to fast track this curve are that basically we can use like some of the other aspects of the tool to deliver huge value. One of the things we don't have is a good website in the bank. It's very much a public relations site. So there's no way to curate content, of which we have vast amounts, as you can imagine. So now Open Social becomes a place to curate content around a particular topic, say desalination. There's a huge amount of advancement in the world on desalination, like daily, massive advancement. The costs are dropping down. a bit like solar power, it's becoming very viable as an option for many countries. How do we have that conversation with our countries who may be interested? In the past, it would have been, well, goodness knows how we'd have done it in the past. Probably would have prepared a project and foisted upon them. But now we can actually co-create the solutions. So it's taking that kind of vision to our own staff and go, okay, maybe it requires you to be a bit more vulnerable, to listen a bit more, but there's huge value here in working in a community than there was in the past. So things like that. We use events and training courses as a Trojan horse also. And these are things that go beyond discussion groups, so they delivered huge value for us. I'll pass it on.
Thank you. Airah, you already said you have a big, like smaller team, right? So how is that a struggle to get everyone involved? Or is it because you're a smaller team? Or how much are your stakeholders also involved?
So we're trying that. So two of us have big plans and we don't always get to implement them. So we're trying to pass some of the tasks on to the members. So for example, we're trying to introduce this, Jake, I'm looking at you, but it's coming. We're trying to introduce that members themselves will be able to create the pages that they want to profile themselves. Because what we try to do as an association is to also balance the playing field for our members, in the sense like the big companies will never need us for their own, members area or whatever. So, but the smaller companies who don't even have communications officers or web officers will rely on us and can see the service of having that members area, making their own profile and possibly making that link open to the public so they have their own kind of website, because they will never have that chance otherwise. So we're trying to, we're leading towards that hopefully they will be able to create their own website through our members area.
Yeah. Also, Frederic, you already mentioned that, right? You support the project, but there are people behind it who, right? You're, now I forgot the word for it, but you support the project, but you're going to give it off at one point, right? Now you're running and establishing it, which I'm sure you're sad about as well. But like, where do you see now the struggle, right? The handoff as well of getting all these stakeholders to stay on board with you, because you provide the strategy, you're implementing it all, right? But do you see a struggle there now taking place, or how will be that handover?
So not for the handover, not so much because the owner of the initiative, so the DG EAC, stays the DG EAC. So it's continuity on this. It's more on the community management that it will change. On the technicalities, we have already a lot of contact with Eric, for example, who is a king in these old technicalities, so he knows better than me what everything needs to be done. Will stay the same. Indeed, on community management, it will be something that we already prepare, because people are, as I said, used to see our faces, and so it needs to be a fade in, fade out, and it will happen like that way. But on this also, there is a huge difference that we noticed the last year, I would say, between the community management that we need to organize for early stages members and the new ones. So what happens? It's a bit caricatural, but first year is simple, to make it very simple. Everyone that you welcome in these gatherings are new people. So you explain what is the goal, what is the purpose of the community, how it works, onboarding, super important. The second year, you continue to do the same, because you don't see that what happens is that early stage members starts to be fed up to hear the same stories all over the time, every time that they connect with others. So you tend to lose them. The third year, you realize this, thankfully, but then you need to, let's say, duplicate a bit. You need to organize sub-communities of working groups and working on something very concrete with the early stage members, but still onboarding the new ones. And it's not that it doubles the work, but it has an impact on the work and the gatherings, the number of gatherings that you need to organize and the type of it. So you try to communicate about, this is for new members, this is for, no, you can't. So it's difficult to get understood by members.
Do you have a strategy that you then use to find that balance, right? From like onboarding users to advancing?
A super strong strategy. We try and fail. And it basically, it's kind of work, yeah?
You're also in your first year right? So that was obviously a strong curve up. What are your expectations now for next year also as managing the community, and where do you hope it goes? But also, like, are you managing your expectations or are you expecting it to skyrocket?
I'm expecting big things, and today's really helped, actually. But I'm expecting big things. We got 2,000 members right now. It'll certainly double in the next year. And I'm really expecting, I think, the discussion area to take off. People have, first of all, we're the World Bank. We come with baggage for everybody. We come with baggage. So we've done the same thing somebody mentioned here. We get out the room as much as possible and let people talk. But I think a lot of our communities are going to start to really take off. We've learned a lot of lessons. You've all said, just build it and they will come doesn't work. And we've done a lot of that with our internal teams. Here's a beautiful page with some resources. There's your community. And everyone goes, crickets, as they say in America, nothing. So we're now saying you're not coming near this thing unless you have a plan and unless you've read the book. You're not coming near this thing. I got a request for 2 new communities right now on my phone. They're not coming near it, not even near it, until they've read the book. Because failure, I mean, you're right. Failure is okay, but it starts to have a cost. We've got to try and, if we know that it's wrong, don't do it. So we're going to try and do things right. But I'll give you, if you don't mind, a 30-second anecdote on one of the values we've got from this platform beyond dialogue. We launched a course called Water Utility Credit Worthiness. It's a really important, extremely heavy course for water utilities in the countries of the world. It lets them move from being basically a very under-resourced entity to being ability to attract private finance, which is the success for water utilities around the world. You have to have private finance. We did this course in Kenya. The woman from Kenya wrote a blog. The blog was picked up by Tanzania, by Vietnam, by Sri Lanka, and by Zambia. And within 6 weeks, we had the course running in those countries. That would have taken 2 years before Open Social, okay? It cost me a lot of money, but my God, what payoff just from this platform. So the word we would use would be disintermediation, which is basically, in the past, we'd have written letters to ministers over 2 years. Now it went through Open Social like wildfire. Now that's change.
Yeah, and with you, Airah, as well, like you've now been 2 years, 3 years at this point, right? How do you make sure also, how do you manage the community with your colleagues? What are your best practices then in keeping everybody involved on the platform?
So we've implemented some gamification tools. So we've used that. I mean, small things. So we did a poll. We made sure that, for example, for all events that are planned, all the registration is done through Open Social or through our platform. So that, and we have our own CRM platform, but we put it through Open Social, and all with the Teams integration and everything in our sandbox. At the moment, we haven't even launched it yet, but we saw that, okay, if it's there, people will stay on the platform, because really what we want to do is stop the email platform interchange, and that as much as possible, anything related to our events, our topics, stay on the platform. And so when we have that button where we have an event, whether it's a monthly meeting or whatever, we put it there, the location, the Teams link, and they just enter the platform and they have all their information. So that's really our goal. And so far, we're getting there. We're getting there.
Nice. Frederic, you obviously have many best practices when it comes to community management or running it. But now when you're gonna onboard somebody else to be community manager, what do you say are like the 3 best practices or something they really need to do responsibility-wise? I know this might be hard. You can obviously say 1, 2.
No, but maybe to link your question and to bounce on what was said. Indeed, we can fail, but once. Otherwise, it's costly. So. My first CEO told me that you can fail in my company once. Secondly, on the design of the way that we would like to have people using the platform, like for events, we discuss that a lot, and we change our mind and we test different scenarios all the time, because we see that indeed, of course, people need to be connected to contribute, and to have a user to connect to the platform, it's already a kind of a huge effort. So when we organize an event, we also try to do it always not always, but the most we can via the platform, and then to reflect on, okay, they will have to log in, then to enroll, and know that they're enrolled, then they are connected, so they can contribute. Maybe it's the call to action to ask them once they enrolled, because then the chance that they will contribute will be higher. As I said, we see that 25% of people logging in are doing something on the platform, but the percentage of people connecting versus the visits we have is lower indeed. And maybe a last thing is indeed to think about the use case. We were talking about ROI and the like, and how to promote your platform in the beginning for stakeholders, but you need also to keep promoting it later on, maybe sometimes even more. And there are some stuff, exactly as you just explained, there are some stuff that you can do on the platform when the platform is a little bit more mature, in the sense of having a successful event with a lot of participation with a minimum number of effort. If you replicate the same kind of, let's say, process to organize your third or fourth event, it costs you less and less, and you get more and more users. So I remember we were in the room with Stine and one of our main directors, and we explained how many people attended our event, one-day event, and how many days we were working on it to publish it, to make it happen. And the cost of these, it was not 2 days, of course, work, but the cost of these days within the team, that was really decreasing in comparison of the cost of some of the colleagues from other DGs organizing an event with the same amount of people was huge, because when you organize an event from scratch, it costs a lot of money, a lot of days. So the more you grow, the less you cost in a way, right? And that speaks a lot to stakeholders.
First year, a lot of investment. Later on, it will pay off in time. Definitely. But I think also what I'm interested in also when it comes to growth, right? Like you're gathering feedback, of course, from users, or you will in time. How do you do it best? And what do you think, an example maybe from you, like when you've gathered feedback and implemented it, right? Do you have a story regarding that might resonate as well with your other colleagues?
Okay, you want me to? Because I was buying time to think. Yeah, exactly.
Well, do you gather feedback?
We do. So
Okay.
we gather feedback, and many of them do it really to our face, which is good, because we have, as we said, regular annual meetings, and one of the topics that I always put in the annual meetings is feedback on the members area. So each meeting that happens on site, I always ask my colleagues to put 10 minutes at the end or beginning on feedback in about the members area. So it's quite useful. And how we implement that, so it's small things. So one, for example, okay, they want that instead of uploading agenda as separate resources, they would like it to put it in events so that they can just go back to the event and all the documents are there, blah, blah, blah. But one thing that hasn't been implemented yet, and I think you can tell me if this is already possible, the past events thing that I know, this is a pain where it's like, they still, when an event has passed, it has to be filtered as a past event, whereas they would like just to easily see that it's already there, even without the filter. So it was an additional step. So those small things, we do try to implement it within us. But the broader thing of like, how do you want the members area to really add value to you as a company or as a member of our federation? That one we do in our annual meetings. And so I said, we just had it last week here in Rotterdam, which is why I was in the area. But that's how the strategic decision of how we use the members area going forward. That's why I was telling Jake that I have big plans.
We do ask feedback also, and we need to be careful with it. In the sense of, I remember the first year, we before knowing even Open Social, we did a lot of design workshops. We met 850, people from all over Europe. And we've built with them a manifesto, a huge plan, and really we tried to make very concrete what was the purpose of the community. And it was co-created really with 850 people. And everyone was talking the same languages. We had some keywords, I even don't remember, like let's engage and co-develop and whatever, right? Mostly buzzwords, but it was co-created. Everyone was talking the same languages. So then Open Social arrives, and we're super happy because you can change the menu and you can make it your own. So we adapted the menu on the platform based on that manifesto with the same keywords. And everyone from the community, early stages, were super happy with that because they were creating that with us. Co-creation was super key. And so everyone was super happy. We're super proud of that menu. Jamila was not yet there, but the first thing that she said when arriving at Open Social is, what is the fuck? No, she didn't say that. Menu. No one will understand. And we said, no, they all like it, and they all like it. But then, in parallel, but you remember what you told us? You did. And at the same moment, new members were coming. These new members coming, they didn't know about all this conversation in WebEx for months and for months. They didn't understand anything to the menu, as Jamila told us. So we changed that and we made it more classic so that new members could, based on the feedback was it, but the first feedback was also misleading in a way, right? So that's my little story on feedback. I have to say also that Education for Climate is made with members who are super highly motivated, thankfully, thank for us, on education and climate and sustainability, right? So we have an advisory board, but most of the time in that advisory board, we talk about the content, the strategy, the different topic to cover and the like, not really on user experience because we don't have the time. And I miss that a bit. The problem is that it really requires a lot of time to really understand the user experience that all this diversity of members have. So maybe we do that too less, but the good news is that we also ask feedback on the content strategy and that's it, yeah.
I'll give you a short one on this. We are the first year in, and so we're very much a pilot within the World Bank. And I've learned over 25 years of working there that don't blow your own horn, let someone else blow it for you, if you'll pardon the expression. So I'm going to wait for our clients to say, this is amazing, we can't live without it, and that will be the success. That's how you get things done there. Otherwise, it's just me promoting my own platform.
Yeah, of course, please.
Like, just related to that, just to say that it's true, because I was also kind of introducing Open Social, which was a total foreign concept to our association because it wasn't really used in many associations. I don't know if you have other users now, but once the members saw and the members started directly going to the board saying like, your members there is amazing, and other associations wanted to copy it, etc. So then it worked, then it flew.
We like to hear that for sure. Yeah, I think I have one last thing that I think is interesting. In the community management space, you saw there's a lot of strategies, a lot of tips, right? Or best practices, also ones we share with you, right? Keep the menu simple. What do you think is a trend you're currently seeing, and what are you excited about, or what are you excited about also in the platform that helps you as a community manager further? You already mentioned gamification, right, to an aspect, but what excites you maybe also from the day today that you heard what's happening?
Well, I mean, this is all exciting, and the AI piece is really exciting. The fact that we'll be able to give to these very diverse 2,000 people far better targeting of what they're interested in. I mean, you know, we have got a huge amount of curated content in there, and it is largely locked away, right? This PDF attached to topics and so on. This will dramatically change that. And I think what we will probably see then is a lot of people shifting a lot of the content strategies from their internal World Bank stuff to Open Social. And that's a pretty interesting development for me. So I think the AI thing holds incredible potential for us, and that really does excite me.
Nice, thank you.
Yeah, from a European Commission point of view, of course, we have limitation in what we will be able to implement. Even if I'm super excited about that marketing part where we had this afternoon, yeah, the GDPR and all other rules, we are very strict with that. So AI is the same. We have our own AI engine inside the commission, of course. Will we be able to link some, yeah, ask Eric. So next year you need to have Eric in this place and he will explain everything. So that's it. But I do believe that indeed a community is about people. And you need to make it personal. You need to do it interactive, and you can't really drive without a CRM. We don't have a CRM properly. We respect the rule strictly on the GDPR and the like, but you need to know who did come last month and what they did and the like. There are huge opportunity, and I discussed that also already with you. There are huge opportunity, even by making it anonymized, to understand what are the type of content that is generating more engagement? What are the type of where they are clicking on? We are a bit blind still, and I think with the tool that were presented today, and also with what Moritz also presented today, there are a lot of stuff that we could do in the way that we do community management by understanding more automatically what people are really doing on the platform and engaging back with them.
Yes, thank you.
So for us, it is also AI. I think that's a huge thing. Internally, we're still coming up with our own position on that, and if we're ready to go there. Yeah. But I think one thing that's really happening soon is that we want to open up the members area and change the name because we want to open up to non-members. So a takeaway from our annual Congress that just happened is that we invited a huge delegation of young people who are not yet in the companies, but will be the future of the industry. And so we want them to be involved in our own workflow through this community. So they don't have to be a member, but we want to create an area there for them where it can be a kind of community of practice or just really a space for interaction outside of our events.
So just to finish off, one thing that came across my mind, one of the challenges we're going to face, I want to give you an anecdote from yesterday. At a meeting, I was called into a meeting with some donors, I think it was Germans, the UK and a few others, talking to a particular district in Ghana, northern Ghana, who have asked for support to set up a community platform within their district. Not state, not the whole of Ghana, one district. And all, of course, the Germans, the British, and everyone's going, fantastic, we'll find you money to do this. And my vision, so my mind went to 5 years from now, when every district in Ghana has their own community platform. Every state in Ghana has their community platform. And we're all bouncing around 1,000, 100,000 silos. What do we do about that? What does Open Social do about that? Even today, the UNDP and us, we have duplicate communities. Imagine the EC probably also. How do we deal with that meta world of, again, we've gone from individual silos to more silos. Is there anything we can do about it? Is there some technical way to deal with it? I'm just throwing out, I'm worried about that.
Mycelium, if you remember the beginning of the presentation.
I thought that was penicillin, right? I'm just, I don't know.
Taking older.
Penicillin's good for you, right?
Well, the mycelium is there to, that is the goal as well, is to connect all these different platforms together, right? Depending on the content. Yeah, exactly. So thank you so much. I also want to open it up in case there are questions or something you would like to share about mastering community management.
I think we have time for one question, and then unfortunately we need to move on. Who dares?
Who dares?
Yes, Jake.
You're the master anyway.
Yeah, it's working. Yeah. So yeah, I've been thinking that a theme of today has been around quality control within the community, like who is allowed to access the community, creating the content properly, making sure people and content are in all the right groups, which is really, really important. But I wonder how you experience balancing that with also making sure it's easy and effective for users to actually engage. So removing those barriers to entry and engagement within the community, because you don't want to put up too many of those because you won't get that engagement. What's your experience or suggestions around that point?
We made a retrospective with Stine last week, and I think the word that is coming the most is simplicity. Is never simple enough. If you write 4 sentences where you were writing 10 sentences last year, people say it's still too long. If you have only topics and only event for people to do, people say what's the difference between both? It looks the same. I mean, it's never simple enough. And every day in everything that you do. Now, on the other side, also in our case, though, building a safe place is super important. We were spammed last year, so we had to develop another onboarding process by validating each member each time. Doesn't mean that people can't create their profile. They create their profile, but they can't write on the platform directly because otherwise we are spammed. Frankly, it takes time, a bit, but a few minutes. I did a few today. It takes a few clicks. We have our own process, but the very positive aspect of it is that you make it personal and you post a message. At least it's not automatic. It could be indeed, but manually you post a message, and sometimes you see, oh, that person is for that organization, so I can link them already and I can connect the dots. So it makes it a little bit manual, but safe. And we are not spammed anymore. So I don't know if it answers the question, but between simplicity and making it personal, I think it's very important.
Just to echo, I think to remove the barriers of participation, definitely simplicity, ease of use, that's number one. And in our case, it's really value. Like, what is the value? Because if it just duplicates any other social network or any other platform that exists that they can do more easily, like social media or whatever, then they won't never log on to our platform. So we need to really think about what value we are adding to them as a user, and also to help make sure that we're co-creating that platform with them.
I just agree with everything they've just said. It's adding incredible value. For most of the people we're working with, there is no alternative. There has been nothing like this before in their lives. They've never logged into something like this before. So it's very new for them, but it's adding, I believe it has added, and it will add incredible value to their day-to-day lives. And that's why they're hanging around there. But the other point is, we do due diligence on every single person that comes in, and I'll always have to do that. And so it's incredibly intense. If the level of membership picked up, I think we'd be in big trouble. We got hit last year by every Russian teenager in Russia. And thank God for Cloudflare, which stopped it, because we have to have shut the whole thing down. We were very close. It was bad. But now it's great.
Thank you so much. Well, thank you so much for all three of you for being here and for the discussion. Thought it was very insightful. And this comes also to the closing. I think this was the last agenda point before we have our closing ceremony. But I'm going to slowly stand up. I hope that's fine. Without hitting the chair. But I am very excited today. Yes, thank you. You can stand and clap.